Hello, good morning, and greetings, and assalamu alaikum to everyone. As I have been requested to share my experiences with the aspirants with regarding to preparation for the various competitive exams which are held throughout the nation, and the competitive exams like IAS, IFS, KS, KPS, and other state level PSC exams. This is a small attempt to help my own friends, especially there's a friend who requested me to make a video so that young aspirants can be helped. I have no expertise in this kind of coaching and all, but yes, through my own experiences, I can share a bit with you. There are three, four things on which we need to focus while preparing for competitive exams. So, last but not least, my good wishes to everyone who is preparing for this exam. And there's one important thing which I'll say. First and foremost important thing for such exams is that you should be devoted, and you should plan your things. For that, I'll suggest some areas where we need to focus. First, while thinking of preparing for such exams, it should be started somewhere when you are doing graduation, or even if you are doing post graduation level, that's not too late. But yes, consistently you can look into the things around you. You should be a good reader, and plus you should know what to read. There are certain national level papers which you need to go through regularly, and a local paper that will help you in adding your general knowledge. Besides, you should have a thorough knowledge of history, geography, political science, economics. You need not to be an expert of the subjects, but you should know the basics, fundamentals of these subjects, and that you gradually get to know once you start preparations. There are certain basic areas where you need to focus. First is the selection of optionals. Before going into optional detail, nowadays there's been a trend where your overall skills are tested. Like in UPSC, there's a GSAT pattern. For that, you need to, you should have overall, your acumen for everything. You should know reasoning, mathematics. You should have good hold on language. So for that, you need to work accordingly for such requirements. And it's not that the level is so tough. Once you have analytical brain, and you are a good, if you are a good student and a devoted student, you can easily make out. But now, there are two phases of this exam. One is preliminary, another is mains. In preliminary, you need to go through the overall, you should have overall knowledge of the things, and the optional which you select, plus you should be good in this GSAT pattern. But most of the students make it to the from the prelims level and get into the mains. Actual exam is mains, where you need to focus. Nowadays, there is trend that you have been given limited space on answer scripts, where you need to fill in the answers, and the answers should be different from others. So the selection of optional is the first important thing which I will focus on, because there's a famous saying among the aspirants that once you select an optional, it's called, some people say that selection of optionals is half work done. Like, you need to be very selective while selecting the optional. Suppose somebody who's taking political science, it's not going to be an easy passage for him, but yes, as compared to if you'll take a botany as a subject or a law as a subject, you can see the strike rate is very low. But I don't say that there's no strike rate at all. I don't want to disappoint anyone who has taken such subjects. It overall depends on how you take your optionals. But yes, your selection of optionals is half work done. You be very selective in selecting optionals. Second, you focus on your optionals. They should be, because we start preparation in the age where we have inclination towards other things, and you should make your optional like as if you're dealing with your girlfriend. And now, second most important point is devotion and dedication and consistency. You should be consistent about this exam. I don't say it varies from a person to person. Somebody studies for 8 hours and somebody stretches it to the 18 hours. In between, it depends on your strength. You can select what is your actual, but at the end of the day, you have to think of goals as well. Because if I'm going to study for 8 hours and I'm getting the result which other person is getting in 18 hours, then it's okay. Otherwise, you think on this thing. This is up to the individual. He can take a call on his personal strengths. But He needs to be devoted, he needs to be dedicated, and there should be no break. Like we study today and tomorrow I'll take an off and day after I will start again. It should be every day you have to work for your goal and objective. And then there's time, something called time management, which is very important while preparing for exam and while appearing in an exam. You should be knowing that it is a limited time for which you are doing the preparations, and for that the time management is very important. You need to know, okay, you need to fix targets, small targets, that this is the portion of syllabus I'm going to complete by this date, and I'll be testing myself. And testing yourself is very important. Not only studying, but ultimately you have to see, because you are going to face a toughest exam where so many people will come and they will be prepared. So you have to be different from others. For that, regular tests are required. So you need to test yourself, you need to go through test series in different institutions. That will also help you. So the time management part is very important. Please think about it and focus on the time management part. Then there is important thing that while preparing, that you should consistently devise your time in the time management. That if you have taken two optionals or one optional, whatever, and you have to study general studies as well, and you have to have an overall information about things, current affairs and all. So you have to devise, if you are going to study for 10 hours, you devise 2 hours I'm going to give general studies. It should be regular. I don't believe you will study one optional today, tomorrow you'll go for GS, and day after you will go for. It should be a bit of everything. That's called smart, because by that standard, you are building a building where you are constructing, you're putting your bricks, you are putting your wood, and you are putting other material on time. Otherwise, you just think of building a building with concrete material only, and then you will think of that, oh sorry, I forgot to put in the frames. That's not going to help. I think time management is very important. In time management, devising time to the optionals and subjects is very essential. Then there is important part where you will be tested, that is skill development and innovative and positive approach towards the exam. You should have innovative ideas while studying optionals. You should think on the lines where you can be different from others, and plus you should be consistently developing your skills. Suppose you're a good student and you know how to frame answers, but your drafting the answers, your approach to write those answers, that should always be different from others, and that on those lines you need to think. Suppose there's a question which everybody studies from a book, and then you can put in always your innovative things. I'll quote an example, like in one subject, like I had taken zoology during my preparation days. I used to put in, suppose there's a question on which we find 2 or 3 diagrams in a book. I used to add on 5-7 diagrams, like I'll say of a phosphorus cycle. If I would have been called to write about phosphorus cycle, it seems to be a very easy and ordinary question. But what makes your answer different is your innovations. Everybody will write about the phosphorus cycle, but how you can make it different, that you can put in your efforts by saying that suppose it's in the biolipid bilayers, phospholipid bilayers part component of the cells. So you can always put in a diagram, or you can show the phosphorus in phosphorus springs. It has a role in different things, like in eutrophication. You can always put a diagram of a pond, and you can, that gives an examiner notion that he understands. And you should be very precise. Diagrams and your writing answer should be based on bullet points, not you will write details on pages, and you'll be given limited space in the papers as well. Then most important thing which nowadays we are facing due to COVID is stress, and for that you need to do the stress management things. For stress management, I'll suggest that you should be, whatever religious practice you are doing, you follow that. You can do some regular exercises, because facing such exams, sometimes gives you a mental tough. It gives you a mental cog at times. I've seen people suffering from stress when I was preparing. So, in order to relieve mental stress, what I used to do is, being a practicing Muslim, I used to offer namaz. I used to put my everything, despite doing so much of hard work, and ultimately I used to, put it into the right direction. I used to pray to Almighty that this should now happen for me, and it's always good to put in your religious things and put in your beliefs, and these things actually, these religious things and beliefs, they help us in relieving the stress. And this very important. Once you are stressed, you cannot perform. You will always be underrated while going to appear in an exam. You should be stress free. Trust me, it has a drastic and dramatic effects on your results. So with this, I wish I have spoken enough about the exam, and I suppose you are smart enough to understand what I mean to say. My good wishes are there to everyone, and especially to the one who pressed me hard to post a video for the aspirants. My good wishes to everyone. Thank you so much. God bless you and keep shining.